Hello everybody, this is your girl Slick Vick. Welcome to Peace, Toast, and Jam. You guys, I am starting finally my vlog format of this podcast. So I'm recording this as I'm talking into my Audacity, which I will upload that separately and blah, 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 blah. I'm figuring this all out. And you know what's so funny? If you've been following this podcast and the episodes, you know that I have been struggling hard to figure out how am I supposed to upload this podcast to all the different places I was doing it through. The other broadcasting source that I had mentioned, I was doing it through Anchor, that switched over to Spotify, and then they changed things, yada, yada, yada. And it's literally really caused me to grow and to learn and to pivot, adjust, shift, all the things that I've talked about in certain aspects of this podcast before. And this really showed where I have a couple moments of just being human and being like, oh my gosh, what do I do? This sucks. But that it's like a good stress. Hopefully that makes sense. It was like, this was like a growing, these were growing pains for me, and I got through it. And so anyways, here we are. So with that being said, I will be posting these to YouTube now. My YouTube, which is at Slick Vick. Just find me Slick Vick on YouTube, and you can follow me, subscribe me, etc. Share all these episodes if people are more inclined to watch me as I speak. But I still will be putting these out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and other RSS feed things. Still don't even know what all the terminology means, but hey, guys, I'm being so raw and real. I'm learning. So, with that being said, I decided that we were going to kind of start circulating some things that are really important to me that I feel like have helped shape me become the person I am right now, and present day me, if you will. And I think it's important to like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, to kind of reflect on things that just worked in the past, and if they still can work and they still make sense, then why should we keep trying to change it? So one of the things that I really enjoyed when I was going through my journey of getting out of like the whole like hustle and bustle of the matrix, if you will, and trying to figure out other ways in which I can help serve the community, people that are coming to me, was I was introduced to Heart Math. And Heart Math is an amazing company. It's been around for a long time, but they deal a lot with figuring out more holistic approaches to help individuals just deal with life. And a big thing that a lot of people are going through, which a lot of people went through, just recently, I would say over the last couple of years with the pandemic and all the anxiety of staying at home, and then people are always having stress and anxiety. I mean, that's just part of the human experience as well, was resilience. And this was really interesting because when I was learning about Heart Math and the different techniques and how it can help you, which if you're more curious about it, you can, message me. I am a Heart Math practitioner. But what I really want to talk about today is the resilience aspect of it, because we all have resilience in some ways, but some people just have a really like natural way of having amazing resilience. And I believe that's due to probably a slur of things, like a nice little jumble of reasonings, maybe genetically wise. They're not like, they don't deal with stress the way that someone else would, or they're better at it, or etc., whatever. And it could be due to just life experiences, which I think is like a huge one. But at the end of the day, there are things that we can do. There's techniques that we can learn that can help us with stress, with anxiety, with trauma, if you will. And this is a very like mental health, heavy focused episode. And what I'm going to talk about next is the resilience advantage. So this was given to me by a good friend of mine who actually introduced me to Heart Math, and it's called the Resilience Advantage, and it's a little pamphlet here that I have in front of me, and it's Skills for Personal and Professional Effectiveness. So this comes from the Institute of Heart Math, and I'm going to read you a little bit about resilience. We'll kind of flip through here a little bit to kind of give you an overview of what we're going to do on here, and I'm going to give you a little taste of it so that if you're curious about it more, if you want to look into it, you go to Heart Math and you can check it out. And they have a lot of really cool things you can be a part of. You can become a practitioner, you can do the courses, you can learn from somebody. I mean, it's really awesome. And there's a lot of like things that are with it too. Like you could actually buy things that can help you when you're at home, like different things for your heart. So anyways, I'm just being very raw and real right now. For those that are listening to me on the podcast, you don't see this, but for those that are watching me, I have a pamphlet here, which was printed out to me a long time ago. And there's like a whole thing, which I used when I was learning about Heart Math, when I was going through the courses that I took. And this is just like information from them. This is from 2014, 2019. So I apologize if HeartMath has, updated some things, but I think this is pretty spot on to like, it's up to date. So with that, resilience. So what is resilience, you guys? Resilience is the capacity to prepare for, recover from, and adapt in the face of stress, challenge, or adversity. So that kind of just defines what resilience is for everyone. And some people, like I said, are just really good at dealing with stress. Some people in the middle, some people are just like, I cannot deal with it. I would say I'm on the middle to like, oh, it's really hard for me. And I think that's due to so many reasons, but I think, personally for me, I had a very like not stressful childhood, and then into young adulthood it became very stressful. So my resilience for me, I personally feel, was the level it is now is a lot better than it used to be. But just like anything else, I'm just learning and growing every day. But the older I get, the more reps I get, and the more different techniques and skills that I take on and I learn, the easier it is to deal with stress. So so it goes on to say, you can think of your resilience as the amount of energy you have stored in an inner battery. So energy you have available to use not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally. I think that's really important to note, because a lot of people, when they think of stress, they may think of like all the external forces that are put on us, but really it's all up in here, knocking on my noggin. All right. So like that is where it all kind of just comes together. And emotional and mental stress is just as important as the physical stress. So you need to, in fact, I think it's more, because that's where it's all at. It's all up in your head. And so when you have a high level of resilience or a fully charged inner battery, you have greater capacity to remain calm, to think clearly, and be in control of your emotions so you don't overreact. Who here has overreacted before in a state of high emotions? Woo! Raising my hand. I bet you're raising yours too, because it happens. I mean, how many times have you just freaked out on someone or in a situation, and then afterwards you're like, I did not mean to do that. I mean, I did, but I just like lost control of my emotions because I was so heightened, and holy cow, like where did that come from? I overreacted. So you can more easily roll with the punches, as they say, and flow through challenges rather than become stressed out, which further drains your energy reserves. So it goes on to say, similar to a drained car battery, when your inner battery is depleted, there isn't enough energy to draw from when you need it, making it very difficult to be at your best and respond well in tough and sometimes very ordinary situations. Also, very good to note right there, I'm just a little side note, ordinary situations. So this isn't just when you're having like these crazy like fight or flight moments where it's like legit like, oh, this is high stress, I need to figure this out. It could be in the simplest little things. Like, how many of y'all have freaked out when you're like running late for work or running out the door, and like your shirt gets caught on the door handle and you start spilling your coffee and all these little things, and you're just like, any other day it wouldn't be a big deal, but in that moment, if you were like if your stress was heightened, if your energy was just like crazy depleted and you're very emotional, you might freaking have like a little meltdown. Or it could be a big one too. I don't know how, levels here. But it's like, whoa, pump the brakes. It's not that big of a deal. But in that moment, it felt like it because of all the stress that had just jumbled up. It accumulated over time, and you haven't been doing a good job of getting it back up to a good level. So you're more prone to those overreacting moments. Okay. In the end, it can also affect the people around you, which is really important. And believe me, I have a boyfriend, and there are so many moments, just happened over the weekend, to be very frank, where my emotions were just so crazy, and I started to just pour out in a way. It was like seeping out onto him, onto other situations in my life, and it's like I recognized it. That we'll go on about that in a little bit. It's good to recognize it, because then you're like, oh my gosh, this isn't me. I don't know why I'm doing this. Well, I know why I'm doing it because I'm really stressed out, but like, you don't deserve this, right? So in these kind of situations, it's really good to be self-aware about your resilience levels and knowing what stress does to you in really crazy situations and in ordinary situations, and how good you are at navigating all that. So It's essential that you learn to plug energy leaks, as they say, so you don't come away from situations or interactions feeling depleted. Plugging energy leaks is very important in building and sustaining your reserves. So I like the way that they kind of give that whole overview of resilience. That's why I really wanted to just kind of read it word for word, basically, to y'all. And then they go on to explain that there's 4 domains of resilience. There's the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual, which is something that I love to talk about. You guys already know I'm very spiritual, and I love the mental aspect of things as well. Plus, I'm an emotional creature. Like, I'm such an empath. And last but not least, I'm a very physical being. I mean, you guys know me. If you don't know me, well, I train jiu-jitsu a lot. I'm working out a lot. I love to be outside a lot. I'm a very physical, very active person. So stress comes from all different areas. And also good to note, like, not all stress is bad. It's just when you have too much of it and you're not doing the things on the other spectrum of it to balance it out, that it becomes more of an issue. And plus there is, the bad stress, which maybe we shouldn't say bad, because I feel like saying bad for everything is such a it's just a cop out. It's the stress that maybe it's too excessive. So it's just like, what are we doing here? Is this really helping me at this point? Or have I just not set up boundaries for myself? Have I not done the self-care that I really wanted to? And that's why the stress is quote unquote bad. Because really at the end of the day, if we learn these techniques and we learn to navigate ourselves in our life, and we're self-aware enough to know, like, oh, this is where I need to pull back, or like, chill out, then that stress isn't like a big deal, because we know how to deal with it. So anyways, with that being said, there's the 4 domains. So the physical is like your physical flexibility, your endurance, your strength. The mental is all about your attention span, your ability to focus, if you're able to incorporate multiple points of views. The emotional is all about your positive outlook and the way that you're able to self-regulate, which is really important. And then last but not least is the spiritual. So it's your commitment to your values, your tolerance of other values and belief systems. That's a big one. So it breaks down all the 4 domains of resilience and how we're able to, see that in ourselves, see that in other people, and we're able to balance it out. And then it goes into an energy balance. So people tend to expend more energy than they recover. It's the constant energy expenditures without adequate renewal that leads to diminished resilience. All right. This is what people talk about with self-care all the time. When you see self-care, like hashtag self-care, this is what they're talking about. Everything's energy. Everything's energy. And so they're talking about your energy reserves and if you're depleted or not, and if you're noticing this or not. So a key in building and maintaining resilience is managing how you spend and renew your energy. The goal is not to waste energy and to effectively replenish energy that you use. Wasting energy and refilling it up. It's the whole phrase that we've heard a lot of times, or if you haven't heard, here's the first time, of like filling up your bucket, making sure your bucket's full. Because when you don't have a full bucket and you go and try to pour into other people and you're literally like squeezing out the little drippity drops, you're leaving nothing there for you, and therefore you're at a very heightened state of stress. You're at a state where maybe the stress is not there yet, but then you have that ordinary situation where you're leaving the house, and if things start to go wrong, you start to freak out, and you're like, oh my gosh, it was just a little drippity drop of coffee. It's not that big of a deal, but you thought it was like, the end of the world. So just good things. And I'm not going to go into too many details with this, because I know I could talk about this forever. And if you guys want to hear more about this, I can. But real quick, I do want to plug that if you like this episode, please share it. Please share my socials. I'm on Instagram, TikTok. I have a Facebook group as well, but this is all under Slick Vick BA. B as an apple, A as, B. B as in boy, A as in apple. Wow. Okay. Yes, you got it. Slick Vick BA. Like I had mentioned on YouTube, this is under Slick Vick. I'm trying to grow, of course, my YouTube, my TikTok, my Instagram. So please, please, please keep sharing and let me know if you want to hear more about this, because I really think this is good information and I really enjoyed the mental, emotional aspect of everything. Plus we added the physical and spiritual. So it's like, of course, let's cover it all. So back to this. So depleting and renewing emotions. So we experience a wide range of emotions every day, and some deplete us, some renew us. So it's good to start to realize what emotions do what. And then it goes on, and there's like little papers here and pamphlets, and it gives you like little exercises of situations and what feelings would actually happen during that situation, and then what would be your current solution. So this is a good way for you to kind of figure out for yourself. And I'm giving you this little worksheet right now as I'm talking to you, but write it down a situation where something would cause you a lot of stress. right? So example here would be you're late for work. Okay, we've already talked about this, right? So what would be the feeling be? The feeling could be frustration. It could also be like anxiety. You're anxious. You're like, holy crap, I gotta go, right? So then what would be the current solution? Because yes, you have this thing that's happening. It's very stressful, but like, do you have a mental, I would say, solution already in your head of like, what do I do? What do I do in this situation? So that it could start being a default for you, but it could also be something that could comfort you in that moment. And then we could start to break this down and be like, is this healthy? Is this not healthy? What is your go-to? So last but not least, what I'll talk about are some techniques, or a technique I'll say, that you could start to do. And this is an intelligent energy self-regulation technique. It's a heart-focused breathing technique. This is actually something that I do with my Reiki clients when I have them either over the phone, long distance ones, or if I'm in person. If you've ever been a client of mine, you know that I do this technique. I kind of just like sew it into what I'm doing. And really what it's about is about focusing your breath on your heart. So heart focused breathing is an effective technique to take the charge out of a reaction and start the process of shifting into a more coherent state. It's the first step in shifting to a state of focused energy, alertness, and calm, all at the same time. That's pretty cool, right? Like, I mean, I just said 3 different things and you're doing that all through the focused breathing. It can quickly reduce feelings of anger, anxiety, overwhelming, dread, acute pain, and more, etc. And it typically is easy to learn and use, which I would vouch and say it is, because a lot of my clients have reached out and said, wow, I really like that technique. Like, what? Wow, that was so easy. And I'm like, yeah, it's that easy. Like, you didn't even know what you were doing at first, and then the more we did, you're like, I really enjoyed that. So, with practice, you will be able to calm your stress reactions and take out some of the significance and drama more quickly. This is the first technique to help manage your energy and build resilience. So I'm going to teach you guys this technique right now. This is called the heart focused breathing technique. So what I want you to do is just relax, chill out, a couple breaths, right? Get yourself into like a nice little state. And then what you're going to do is you're going to focus your attention in the area of the heart. Imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or chest area, breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. Another suggestion that I have here is to inhale 5 seconds and exhale 5 seconds, or whatever rhythm is comfortable. Do this. You could pause the video, whatever you want to do. Try this out, okay? Now, the heart-focused breathing technique, I will say, for me, when I'm with my clients, I usually do like the first 30 to 60 seconds of the Reiki session. I just have them chilling out their body. The reason is because I want them to relax. A lot of times, if you go into any kind of session, it doesn't have to be, a spiritual session or a healing session, but anything. I mean, so many times I go into jiu-jitsu and I'm like, oh man, I have some like a lot of energy going on. I need to chill myself out. And a lot of times you're thinking, oh, you might need to pump yourself up for those situations. Not always. Sometimes I'm having a high anxiety day, and focusing my breath on my heart and focusing it through my heart is such an easy technique that works so well. And there's a lot of scientific research that's based on this, and it really breaks it down and how we have coherence in our heart and how it affects not only ourselves but other people around us, which is so cool. But anyways, that's the technique. I mean, I'm sure you're like, whoa, is that really it? Yeah, that's one of the techniques. That's like the main one. That's a really good way to chill out, to relax, to get yourself centered, to get back to a nice balanced state, which then you could go, okay, what's my default? Okay, I'm not overreacting and freaking out and jumping to every stressful emotion that's popping up. I'm able to just almost stop time, if you will, and recalibrate and get aligned. And it's so easy. It's so quick. It's free. And I wish more people knew about it. So that's one of the techniques that HeartMath uses that I use as well all the time. I use it with clients. I use it all myself. I try to remind myself all the time to do this, even through my own meditations. Like, this is something that actually helps center me. So the whole point of this is to get into a coherent state. And coherence is really more so about getting yourself to be one, be centered, be balanced. And here, just to read a little bit more about coherence. There are times when we have experienced being in sync and flowing with a sense of ease through daily challenges. When we are in a coherent flow, things that come up just don't seem to get under our skin. We achieve coherence when the heart, the mind, emotions and body are all working in sync. We are then able to take charge of ourselves and maintain our composure. We have more energy, time seems to pass by quickly, and we seem to flow through or around our issues. When challenges come up, we can think more clearly, handle a situation, and move on, and we have more energy and more stability. So through all of this, if there's nothing else you get from this, the whole point is to get to a coherent state. Life is going to happen. We're human. We're going to respond. We're going to react. We're going to be emotional because that's part of this whole meat suit experience that we're having, y'all. And it's okay. It's okay. When it's not okay is when our emotions are out of control and our emotions are controlling us. When the world is controlling us. When our outside external factors are the things that are in the driver's seat of life, if you will. And so these little techniques, these little skills and little tools in your tool belt are literally the things that could quite literally save you in all aspects of your life, whether it be like physically, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. So I'm a big advocate for, meditation and breathing techniques and heart math in general. Like I said, if you're curious to hear more about this and more skills or just more information, I could definitely give you all more of it, but I just wanted to give you a taste for today because I think it's really beneficial. And believe me, I needed to hear it as well. Specifically for women, I can't speak for men because I am not a man, but due to the hormonal imbalances that a lot of women have as well, these little techniques are amazing to have in your pocket. Okay, it's a great little thing to have, just in your mind to know and to actually start repping these. Doesn't matter what gender you are. Okay, just start repping these. Make this one of your default settings so that when stress pops up, when your hormones are out of whack, when you're just having a low energy day, when work is crazy, when life is just throwing so many freaking lemons at you, you cannot make enough lemonades. Okay, take a moment and reset and do some breathing techniques, focus on your heart, get recalibrated, and hopefully get coherent. So I just really wanted to share that. I am a big advocate for heart math and what they do. So with that, y'all, I'm going to end it there. Again, like I always say, please share this if this was helpful. Please, post it on your socials, send it through an email, text a friend, save it, go back, listen to it again, take some notes. I was literally reading from the pamphlets and papers of heart math. So this is backed by science and research. It's a real deal. It's really good information. Do your own research too. I mean, just because I'm talking about it doesn't mean it's the greatest thing in the world. Please do some more research, figure out more ways that you can get yourself realigned. It's so important in this world. And make sure that you make you a priority because like I mentioned in this video, if you're pouring from an empty bucket, well, gosh darn it, that's a drought for everybody. Okay. So, like always, I hope you guys all have a wonderful morning, a beautiful afternoon, an incredible evening, whenever you listen to this. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.